Again, though, back to the show. Wow, some interesting facts and sort of behind the scenes look at some of the cases that that Tom is the folks he's represented in court. And of course, we've been talking about Michael Jackson just because that is so fascinating to many of us. So you left off and you were saying that you didn't realize after the trial was over, he was acquitted of 14 counts, and you told him basically he was a free man, right?
I told him he was free. He said,
"Did he look at you in shock? Was he really like, I guess, stunned?"
I think he looked devastated when he showed up that day.
Okay.
The whole trial had been 5 months, 5 days a week. It wore him down horribly, and he looked very, very terrified to me. And he came into court, and of course everything was not guilty 14 times. He looked at me and I hugged him and said, "You're free, Michael." And he said, "Thank you, thank you." And just a wonderful person. I just feel so sad that I don't think he ever totally recovered from that ordeal. I don't think he did.
And then he went to sort of try to escape the States, I guess.
I told him to leave Neverland, and his staff called me. They said, "Are you sure you really mean that?" I said, "I don't think this sheriff and I don't think this DA is going to let him sleep." I said, "They're humiliated, they're devastated by this. They're going to always be looking for some mistake he might make to blow up into another case, and Neverland has run its course." I didn't know he was going to the Middle East until he started calling me at my office. And he was friendly with the prince, and he stayed there about a year, and then he moved to Ireland, and he thought of England, and then eventually moved to Las Vegas, then back to Los Angeles to start his comeback, and then unfortunately lost his life with propofol, which very sad, very sad. But a really wonderful person who did so much good around the world. He really did, and he should never have been put through this ordeal. This was a very conservative community and a very conservative jury. We had people from the local Air Force Base, very high conviction rate in that courthouse, and they said not guilty all the way.
Well, there were some eyebrows raised even in your jury selection there, right? Because you didn't choose an African American to sit on the panel.
Well, sure. I mean,
and people were surprised by that decision.
Well, look, I got to know Michael Jackson, and I said, "I don't want race to be an issue in this case, Michael. You bring all races together." Okay, prominent African-American family, white children, Latino child. He made a statement he'd like to adopt children from every continent. And look at his music, look at his lifestyle. I said, "You don't divide races, Michael. You bring them all together." And that's what we're going to emphasize in this case. And I didn't need to pick black jurors or try and play the race game at all. We had a jury, didn't have one African-American. He was a little concerned. His family was concerned. I was not. Because I knew what kind of a person he was.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We've got Ken on the phone from Hanceville tonight with a question for you. Hey, Ken.
Hey.
Hey there.
Hey, Ken.
I was just wondering if Tom had ever had the opportunity to work with a trial lawyer from Atlanta, Bruce Harvey, who's been in the business for a long time, dear friend of mine.
Well, I have not. He has a wonderful reputation, but I have not personally worked with him, no.
So now with let's switch gears a minute and talk a little bit more about your pro bono work.
Well, I learned early in my career that many lawyers are unhappy with their work. Since I've been in law school, every time I see a poll, it says 70+% of lawyers are unhappy with their work. And I always tell them, you've got to give if you want to be fulfilled. I spoke to the Cleveland City Club 3 weeks ago about pro bono work and the law, and I told them that there are 2 reasons I do it. I said one is to help others, and the other one is to help myself. Help my soul, help my spirit, make a difference, recapture some of that idealism that we had in law school that we often lose with the rigors of life. And it's a wonderful thing, and I have my free clinic. I do pro bono cases when I can, like in Alabama, and I wouldn't give it up for the world.
Well, Tom, it's amazing, fascinating work that you do, and we thank you. We thank you for
Thanks for having me. I've been honored. Really privileged to be here.
Real quick, a final question for you. What would you say you're most proud of when you look back on your legal career? What comes to mind? What are you most proud of?
I think I'm most proud of the fact that I try to make sure people aren't devalued. That people who from low-income areas, from areas which have been discriminated against traditionally, walk into a courtroom and receive the same value as anybody else. And if I can stop some of this devaluing that goes on, between and among people, and particularly in the justice system, I feel like I've accomplished something.
And what about looking into the future? Any other aspirations? Anything else you want to accomplish? I mean, I think you've had a lifetime of great success legally.
Well, I'm blessed, and I'm always getting interesting calls, and you never know what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, stay tuned. And please come back next time you're in Birmingham. Please come and join us on the show. It was a great pleasure having you. Very great honor for you.
I'd love to. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next Sunday night here at Law Call.
Tonight's program was sponsored by Carlton Public Relations and Farris, Riley and Pitt.